Welcome back to the episode of Shall We Proceed? It is me, your favorite person in the whole entire world, E.LeeseMain, and I have a pretty amazing show for you today with some well-respected people who's going to help me talk about cancel culture and society. But before we get going, do me a solid, share the show, have a watch party, invite some friends, your enemies, everyone, and tune in, comment, and give us some feedback. So today, we have Nikki Brooks, activist, influencer extraordinaire. You've spearheaded bringing back NAACP to Baytown, which I love that. And we have Clarence Singleton, Dream Chasers, Barber and Beauty, Tuesday Night Live, internet extraordinaire. Love him. Relationship person. We'll talk about that later.
Yes, ma'am.
And the mastermind behind everything.
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
The maker of it all.
Of it all.
Mr. Garry Lee.
What up, people?
Yes. So today we're going to talk about cancel culture and society. And I think this is the most interesting thing because I feel that it has gotten extremely out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
And before we get going, cancel culture is this phenomenon where a celebrity or anyone does something that you don't like. And because you don't like it, you don't agree with it, they don't agree with you, you cancel them. They lose their jobs, their following, everything because of one thing in their past, not so long ago they did, and now it gets brought back up, and now we need to cancel them. My issue with cancel culture is now it's like a mob thing because you no longer like me, no one should like me. And if you don't follow along with that, you're getting canceled too, or you must agree. Right? So with that being said, let's get into it.
Okay.
Most recently, Dave Chappelle's special, Sticks and Stones, which I absolutely love. He was hitting people and, they were hollering when he was hitting them with truths. And they want him to apologize. He refuses because he spoke his truth. I agree with a lot of what he had to say. And if I didn't, I just changed the channel and just moved along. So how do you all feel, start with Nikki, about cancel culture in our society?
I feel like, I kind of have a split point of view on it because I do feel that cancellation in and of itself is sometimes warranted depending on the situation. I do think it's gotten out of hand and it turns into a form of bullying. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, kind of the root of it comes from the fact that people, especially celebrities, have been able for years to do things and not ever be canceled, even though they needed to be. They kind of get pushed onto us, mm-hmm. Even though they needed to be canceled. So, it's kind of like, I just feel like that power of social media, there's a good and a bad to it. And I guess my viewpoint, too, is a little different when you're dealing with celebrities versus dealing with, regular people. So that's kind of, I'll intro that and let somebody else chime in. But,
who
so
wants to go next on that one?
Good, sir. Why not you?
Well, to me, I'm kind of on both sides of the fence with this one too, because on one end I do feel like certain things will lead to exposure. It will lead to you being sought after, you know what I mean? And there are consequences with every bad decision that we make and every deed that we do in this sense. But on one end, I think it's almost like one of those things, those without sin cast the first stone.
Right.
So it's almost like if your hands, my hands was caught in the dirt, but you got a lot of dirt in your fingernails too. And you over here trying to crucify me when we really guilty of the same thing. So on one end, it's like if I go to jail or do serve time for a certain crime or whatever, then my time is done. But then at the same time, should I be given the same credit as if my slate is clean now? Because, we in a sense keep records for a reason.
Yeah. And, so to me, when it comes to cancellation, I do think some things warrant it. Okay. When you're talking about Dave Chappelle, he's a comedian. He deals in a space that allows him free speech. And he kind of comedians make their money off of saying what other people can't say.
Are afraid to say. Absolutely.
Exactly what they're afraid to say. But now when you start dealing with regular schmegular people in corporate America, my opinion is a little different there because, you know, and I hate to type. Well, my opinion stems from being a black woman in America. So as a black woman in America who has worked in corporate for 20 years at this point, I see a lot of people get away with a lot of things that should have them canceled, that should make them lose their jobs. People hide and harbor a lot of bias. They do a lot of underhanded things to people. They come in and they really wreak a lot of havoc on folks when folks trying to go to work to feed their families. And so to me, and they represent companies that are supposed to be inclusive, companies that are supposed to be a certain way, and it's kind of like, you know, got all these people that feel like they're not they're not disposable, so they abuse power. And so in that sense, what social media exposes about a lot of people that are working right next to you every day, that I kind of am like, okay, you know, we need to know if the boss actually out here feeling like, you know, we need to know that. But I don't know. And then, you know, celebrity, is it a privilege or is it a right? That brings in a whole nother situation. You know, it's a whole nother question.
Shit, I'm canceling all these hoes. Let me keep it all the way funky, right? Yeah. Things in life, when it comes to law and legalities, have statute of limitations. Certain things do not, because it's just that horrific, right? And I think we need to look at what we're talking about with that same lens. There's certain things that, shit, this was 10, 15 years ago. Culture changed. Let that shit go. Let that man eat. Yeah. Don't try to kill somebody's job because in the 90s they felt some way that they don't feel in the 2010s.
But
right?
it's happening. It's happening.
And I think that's unfair. Whereas there's some other shit, let me find out you did X, Y, and Z. I don't care how long ago that was, right? Child molestation. I don't care how long ago that was. Right. You know, you raped a young lady. I don't care how long ago that was. So there are certain things I think that we need to really look at with that lens and say, you are canceled permanently, versus other things to say that people change. Shit. I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago, let alone 6 years.
And then you bring up another point. See, and I think you kind of brought it up too. It's the mobbing part. I'm a stickler for thinking for yourself,
right,
and having free thought and your own opinion. And my only issue with kind of that machine that's social media is that you have some people have an opinion that's valid. Some are on their phone because they bored and they just sitting up sharing and stuff. You know, they don't even.
But with that, they become bullies. See, my issue with cancel culture is I do believe some things, no matter what, I don't care how long ago it has happened, you need to get canceled. Absolutely. Right. But I also feel that there's also things you pass. Kevin Hart, for example, or anyone else who said things in the past, they've apologized. I'm not going to keep apologizing for that.
That's it.
One and done.
And I'm done. I'm not going to be have to say, I'm sorry. And I feel that when become mobbish of it, and now certain groups are now making it as if I don't have to agree with what you're doing.
That's it.
That's you. This is me. I apologize because that's a long time ago. Move on, because I'm done with it. And my issue is, just because they've been canceled doesn't mean I have to stop listening or liking what they're doing in entertainment. And you have no right now to come into my life, and I don't agree with you, to try to get me canceled, because we have a problem.
Very much so.
Especially when you're trying to counsel me without giving all the details, because and that's the thing with social media and the mob, because a lot of people don't have enough hard evidence or details to where if you was in my situation, you probably would have made the same decision or did the same move. So you're going to judge me based on what you heard and not what you know.
Right.
Fake news.
Right.
Now, you know, it's true. There's some things you want to know about. If you was a KKK member back in the day, I can't work for you. I'm sorry.
I kind of want to know that.
I want to know that.
Yeah.
I want to know that. I want to know if you did some lynchings. You know, I understand that. Right? But if you made comments, we have to realize we're in 2019. There's lingo that people had 50 years ago who's still alive. And they are adjusting as well. Am I going to give you leeway? Yeah. Am I going to cancel you because you did something a long time ago? I wasn't even around. That was a way of life. We can't justify it. But now, if you know better now, how dare I bring up, well, when you was 17, I was 17. Because let's be real, if you dig up anyone who's behind the black mirror bullying your past, y'all gonna be canceled.
And the thing is, you want to talk about my past, but let's talk about the transition between then and now.
Exactly.
Did I grow?
Yes.
Where am I at now?
Right.
What was my process? Am I even allowed to be authentic with what I've gone
Right.
through? Because it's like, okay, you want me to be perfect. And, you know, we have all these gurus. Everybody says, grow, be your best self, go to the next level. Well, that's a process. It goes like this.
Right.
So if I'm here and then there, how come I can't share my process? And that's why you have so many people that aren't authentic. Now, me, I consider myself to be, you know, a card-carrying, I grew up a card-carrying certified church girl. So I saw this problem a lot within the church where you don't have people that are authentic because they're so afraid of judgment. Everybody pretends they have to be here.
Yeah.
Because if you're not here, you get canceled and stoned out swiftly. You know,
Right.
so it's kind of like, you know, it's an epidemic. And I kind of have my other issue is that when we're canceling people, it's one thing for you to, so we talking about R. Kelly. Let's go on and talk about him. You pulled him up on your phone.
Shit. I know what's going there so soon.
It's
I know.
one
I
thing
was
for
avoiding
you to, I get it. He did what he did. Cancel him. I get it. I understand about whatever you're going to do. It's another thing for you then to, when I graduated, there were songs of his that were a part of my
On
memories.
rotation.
Period. When I
Listen.
hear them,
On the
I
mixtape.
don't think about him.
A lot of
I
us
don't
fornicated for the first time to an R. Kelly
A
song.
lot of
so
us still fornicate.
I
and
don't. Yeah.
adultery and everything.
Yeah, I don't think about him. I don't care about him when I heard that song. That song makes me think of my dead father. Like, honestly, this song makes me think of classmates that have passed on. And so you are robbing me of the right to expose that I have that memory because you don't like what he did.
No, we pick and choose who we want to cancel because when Michael Jackson was accused of many, many things,
It was like, not Mike.
you know,
Say
we
so,
still
Mike.
want to rock with you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all night.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna still bad. Okay, we're gonna still do all those things. We're not gonna listen to it. And he's accused of some horrendous things.
He was.
So we're pick and choose how we want to cancel. Bill Cosby. You know, you pull things back.
And-
Listen,
The pudding pop.
You know?
But see, the thing is too, a lot of times before we cancel, once we get a little detail of their background, then we become a little more understanding. Even like with R. Kelly, like when we heard about some of the things that he
happened
went
to
through
him.
when he was going to say, oh well, but a lot of us are not interested in the
That's
psychological
another
point of
thing.
view.
We tend to, you know, we love clickbait. We love to just mob
Right.
at a
Mobbing.
headline, and very few people who use this beast as a way of their information. They don't do their own research.
Of course
And
not.
I'm not putting aside what he did as not being okay because of what he went through. We've all been through something.
Right.
But if I want us to listen to that catalog, what was it?
You know
Trapped in
what
the
it
Closet.
is.
Stop it.
You
Trapped
know.
in the Closet.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to rock Trapped in the Closet as he sits in jail. Okay.
There you
I'm
go.
still
As
gonna
he
watch.
sits
I'm
in
still
jail.
gonna watch Different World, Cosby Show, and those things as he sits in jail
As he
because
sits
I
in jail.
can.
'Cause it's a
Right.
different
And
world
how
for him.
dare you tell me now that?
There
well,
you go.
you still listen to
That's
him?
it.
You still
Now
watching Bill
you want-
Cosby?
You coming from my job because of something he did because he put out what? Now that's where I have the things that are like that's ridiculous. You're gonna come for me because you don't like what he did, and I won't boycott and cancel him completely,
Right.
or won't cancel in a way that you feel
Right.
I should. You know, you need to have the proof that I canceled. Did you do A, B, C, and D? Well, maybe I did A and D.
So
you know, I mean,
Lack of individuality.
absolutely.
There you go.
So let's talk about. We know it's a mob mentality.
Yep.
But also, there's also the conversation of it being toxic, because there's always been cancellation, which is called bullying or whatever it was when we were growing up. I don't like him or her. You can't like her either. Let's keep moving. We did it in
Yeah.
elementary school. We were awful.
did.
We were awful
Yeah.
people.
you gotta be
But
home
now
for me
it's
and show.
toxic because now you're worried about, okay, who's canceled? Should I follow along? Because there's so many individuals as we are, but there's also many followers.
Yeah.
So when it becomes toxic, how are you maneuvering through the world? Because everyone sitting at this table here, we have influence. We may not want to admit it. We do. And the day will come, someone's not going to like what we have to say.
Oh, yeah.
I really don't care. They don't like what we have to say. So they may try to cancel you. How do you think you'll be able to handle that?
Shit, I done been
went
through it.
I
done been through it, and I really
can't miss
side of it.
All
I mean,
right.
you have that when you have a bad relationship. You have that when you have a business and you have a client that goes south. Something doesn't work out right, and they want to spread rumors or, as you mentioned earlier, fake news about whatever occurred, or they're bending the truth a little bit, and you literally have to wade through that water, and it's not fair per se, but it's been going on for generations, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
this is something that is not new, and it erodes other people. That's the toxic part of it, because then other people follow along, and they're just imbeciles at the end of the day because they have no ideas.
And they haven't thought critically about anything that was said. People jump
they
to.
don't even care about that.
No, I
so
mean,
what have you been through with yours, Clarence?
Oh man, where do I?
We don't have to give details, but I mean.
I think the biggest thing is, like, we can all see the same picture, but we'll all have different interpretations of it.
Absolutely.
And so when somebody's on the outside looking at your situation, whether it's, like you say, relationship, whether it's I left a shop to go start my own, somebody's interpretation, or somebody's going to be in their feelings, and they're deciding the situation with their heart instead of their head, because now it's all emotion. Oh, I don't think he did. Blah, blah, blah. But what are the facts? You know what I'm saying? If you
and
they
always come out so much later on.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, I guess that's... Wait, no. It's the same way you was yelling out them falses.
Come
Yell
on.
those
Exactly.
facts, please.
Yeah,
Exactly.
when I went through it, which I guess I've been through it on a miniature level, which was big to me in my corner of the world, on things that I've said based on my opinion, videos I put out.
Give us an example of such videos.
We gonna go there. So I had a video out that I put out, and here's the funny thing. I wasn't even really, I just threw it up on YouTube from my phone. Wasn't a major deal. I didn't even share it on Facebook or anything. I just kind of put up my phone from just, vlogging in my car. And a couple of weeks go by, and I wake up one day and I've got all sorts of hate mail, literally, in my inbox, not my social media inbox, my email. And basically it said, the headline was, "Black pastor never shed tear about abortion." Yeah. And so someone had taken the video and posted it on like a Tea Party page, and then they had reposted that on a couple of pages where there were nationalists on it, and they basically were like, it was this pastor never shed tear about abortion. She calls herself a pastor. And they took everything that I said in the video out of context, had taken snippets, had taken like edited that, they had taken different things and put like crazy looking pictures of me. I'm like, like
made you look like a monster.
Yeah, made me look like a monster. I was getting little death threats. And honestly, at the time that it happened, it was right at the Freddie Gray thing in Baltimore. And that was really what spurred my emotions to say what I said. And I couldn't handle it. I really couldn't handle it. And I was not really ready for that level of mobbing coming at me. So ultimately I took the video down, and at the request of, not the request, but kind of advice of one of my mentors was like, well, just take it down, don't worry about it. But even I feel, even when I think about it, there's a level of me that's really irritated by the fact that I took it down, because nothing I said, the headline might have seemed controversial, because what I said in the headline was that abortion doesn't matter, Black lives do. I wasn't saying that abortion was right or wrong. I was saying,
but people take things how they want to take
their interpretation of it.
And all they did was took their headline
and ran with
the headline, and did not hear anything that I said, which was very intelligent, which was very on point.
They don't want to hear that.
At the time I wasn't even pastoring. I just happened to mention that in the video, and it was just like, woo. So I wasn't ready for the cancellation, so to speak. It was, and from a mental and emotional perspective, it was a lot. And I did not, I didn't count that cost, but, so that definitely made me kind of be like, do I want to deal with this when I put something out?
Right.
But I think I remember one time I posted and I was talking about the influence of the media. And the avenue that they're going to take, because we all understand that it's not news unless it's bad news in a lot of cases.
That's all they want to hear.
And a lot of times it's almost impossible to separate the message from the messenger. But you can change it if, like you said, you edit and you add this and you put a picture here to make it, you could have been just like having a silly face. They'll make that after a certain statement that they just want you to hear, almost like on the news. If I want you to think negatively about this guy, I'm going to say something he said, but I ain't going to tell you what he said before or after it. But you just heard that one part and put the picture of him looking like this here, and he going to be like, what?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And now your interpretation of him, and because we're dealing with a bulk, it's always going to be more followers than leaders, because everybody don't have their own mindset. Everybody is not.
I think it comes to the point of we're in society now where it's microwave. Just tell me. No one wants to look into things themselves, right?
Here and dig deep.
And we want negative. Look at the TV. Everything is negative. That takes off. Reality shows, anything positive. And also think about it. I'm in the age group, and someone's at the table age group. You do something wrong, you can move away, and no one knows what you did. You can just. I know plenty of folks who moved away and have a whole new. I'm like, girl,
you got a new life.
I knew when you was doing some things.
Strange
change,
Okay.
And you living a beautiful life. But now, social media, internet, all these things, it follows you.
All right.
It catalogs it forever.
And I think I read another article, and they're talking about how canceling people is now becoming a mental issue because you worry about it happening. So now you're not being your true, genuine self. And when it happens, the toll it takes on you, because everyone can't handle the backlash of it. And my issue with it is, one, once the good news comes out, no one wants to hear about it. They want to attack you about it.
No.
And two, it's almost like they feed off of it.
Right.
They feed off of the negative.
It does become
they feed off of it, and
Parasites,
I think it's just getting out of hand. And I feel that if you have a platform, you can say what you want to say, if you want to, and if you want to take on the backlash, that's fine. You can't muffle me because I'm saying what I want to say, and you attacking me is just a coward way of doing things. If I've done something wrong, I'll apologize. I'm not going to continue apologizing. Leave me the hell alone. Leave my people alone.
It is what
Stop
it is.
leaving my money alone. What the hell?
Yeah, I think I think the way that we attack people, like you said, it becomes mobbing, and it doesn't even. It's not even. Sometimes it just loses all sense of purpose. It's just people chiming in to say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And or whatever it is they're doing, roasting, whatever they want to do to cancel someone. And it kind of lacks common sense. And it's bullying on steroids.
It's bullying.
Like a whole nother level of bullying. And I don't know how you necessarily turn it around, or if it can be turned around, or if it's something that you just deal with and you say, okay, I can't change this, so now I'm going to go into a shell where social media is concerned.
And I think when people do that is what strengthens the level of control that others have or the media have.
Yep.
But I think it's too few of people that actually stand up and just say, hey, you know what? I ain't finna link to that. Almost like on some Colin Kaepernick type stuff. You know what I'm saying? You took me out the league. I'm out here training. The league need quarterbacks of my caliber that can run and throw, but y'all just don't want me to be a part of the league because you're trying to make an example out of me, and then everybody else is intimidated. Like, man, I feel a certain way, but I see what they did to him, so I ain't gonna.
You fear.
So
you
it's
want to lose your
manipulation.
money. You don't want to lose your money reputation.
A lot of it got to do with money, because you don't want to lose your money, because that's what I deal with the types of things that I do. I have to be very mindful of what I do and say. And at the end of the day, I got bills. I've got a kid in college you're trying to get through debt free. We got goals. We have all these things in line that are dependent upon the ability to make money. And so when things start messing with that, people go, shh. Never mind. I'll chunk the deuce on that. I'll keep my thoughts to myself and keep my paycheck. I know it's different for celebrities, but
sure. And I think money will always motivate people to do something, right? Whether that's something positive or something negative. We're going to see that. But you posed a question earlier about, can it be changed? Can it be turned around? And I don't think that it can be. One, because like we talked about earlier, we've been doing this under a different terminology
for decades
since we were kids.
Yeah.
Kids.
We now have a tool that our voices span the globe
Yeah.
to then incite, this mob mentality of people that are only okay following, because not everyone's made to be a leader anyway, right? So you've got people that are comfortable following the leaders and whoever that is at that moment, and we end up in these situations where people's lives are at stake or people's financial institutions are destroyed. Anything else that has encompassed this rumor or truth, we have now denigrated this person or institution, and it is gone.
And the biggest issue that I have right now with it is it's certain groups that are forcing the hand.
Yeah.
And we don't have to agree with lifestyles. Everyone's not going to like me or you.
Right.
So if I voice that, that's my business. Keep it moving. I'm not hurting you. But when you try to make a whole society flip, that's
you want everyone to dislike me instead of just saying it's you can't be her friend.
Oh, you're not not liberal. You're not. First of all, I don't have to, because you're not gonna like everything that I do.
Or even like we go back with the whole Chick-fil-A and the homosexual thing.
Oh yeah.
It's the same thing. Like everybody knew that Chick-fil-A was built on biblical principles.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna ask them, hey, how do y'all feel about gay people? I said, well, we don't hate them, but we just don't support it. Oh, everybody bash Chick-fil-A. We ain't gonna go to the.
And
I stopped buying nuggets.
Right.
So I just did. I was like, fuck that. I'm done. I canceled.
And I think my
You
issue
did?
with
No, I
it-
didn't.
No, you didn't.
I kept
Because you still have folks who are, you still have gay,
Spicy
lesbian,
Chick-fil-A
homosexual,
sounds good,
trans
dude.
who still go to Chick-fil-A and get their order and 3
because the
seconds
food
less.
is good.
Yeah.
I don't care about
not
your
even- yeah, but
your
yeah.
principles.
Yeah.
I care that my dollar purchases something that I like.
And the fact of the matter, if you think about everyone who doesn't like you or doesn't stand, because they've told you, this is what I stand for. We're not gonna open on Sunday, and you still eat there. They're not forcing anything down your throat.
Right.
You don't have to work there. You don't have to eat there. But
the day that the gay or community, whatever, they tried to boycott it, they sold the most in
exactly,
history.
because listen, you're not gonna.
It's Chick-fil-A, kid.
It's
It's
my
Chick-fil-A.
issue with influencers is that a lot of people who are out there influencing aren't truly influencing. They are practicing groupthink, and because I feel like as an influencer, what I do is I put my thoughts out, my facts, my opinion, and then you make a decision on what you're going to do.
Right.
I lay out my feelings and my point of view. But what a lot of people do is they say, do like me. It's like they use their platforms and their influence to gain people to do what it is
to
that they want to do.
Those are
It is
insecure
a form
people.
of manipulation where I want to get everybody in this group to do exactly what I do because I want to be right or because I'm offended. So I want other people to be offended with me. And then now it's like, and then it becomes the following. It becomes
Right.
it's.
I'm going to challenge you a little bit on that because I think that it's safe and there are people in culture that are persuasive, where it's not necessarily manipulative, right? Because I'm and whatever it is that I believe that I want you to believe, it's not against your detriment. It's not to your detriment. It's not something of negative connotation. It's not going to put you in a bad space, but I am going to influence your thoughts or beliefs in this direction for whatever benefit that is, whether it's mutual benefit or whether it's for my own benefit.
That makes sense. So persuasion versus
Manipulation.
versus manipulation versus straight up control versus persuasion is I feel like this about the chicken sandwich. I feel like this about the corporation. And if someone supports the LGBTQ community, then they need to know when they purchase this sandwich, this is what they're doing against the LGBTQ community. Versus we boycotting Chick-fil-A. And if you buy a Chick-fil-A sandwich, then that means
bullying.
that you such and such and
That's
such.
bullying. That's
That's the
bullying.
bullying and mobbing that comes
bullying.
across with a lot of influencers, with a lot of media outlets where they just basically put out these ultimatums and then people are kind of like, oh,
And the issue is the share aspect. People are sharing things, a meme, a this or that, and then they want you just to jump on it. Like one thing right now I think that is happening when it comes to cancel culture and bullying will be how you praise your faith, what you do. And you have in our society, in our culture, Black folks, if you're Christian, if you believe in this, you're wrong, you're stupid, you're ignorant, and you're canceled, and you don't know any better. And if you do this, then you're wrong, you're canceled. And it's like, why are we arguing about this shit? Right? And when we have some bigger stuff going on.
We're going to argue about Jesus.
but this
I'm just saying, though, people, and they're trying to, and what they're doing is, and what I mean, believe what you want to believe. Interpret it how you want to interpret it. But don't force something down my throat and just because I have to believe it, and if you don't, you're stupid. And don't agree with her.
The insults come in.
The insult, and it's like, if we can't have an intelligent conversation.
Come on, civil disagreement.
Then I don't want to talk to you about it, even though I may fully agree with what you have to say. If you can't educate me and tell me why you feel that way, I'm still going to believe what I want to believe. But I don't want to talk to you. And people right now just attacking each other with no intelligence.
You speak about our culture. Now I know cancellation is across the entire, it's across the globe, and it spans cultural lines. But when you talk about Black folks, and let's just talk about Black folks in America, we have always had a disproportionate value on relationships, and we define loyalty by you supporting me and how I feel. So that's like families, like if my cousin fight, it don't matter if my cousin messy is all get out and they started the fight and they doing all the pick and square and they said the rumors. If my cousin fight is going down and we all jumping in and get some, because we define loyalty in a different way. But when all you have is relationship and you ain't got nothing else, then of course you're going to place a disproportionate value on that, and you're going to measure things in a different way. So I think a lot of that plays into it, at least amongst our culture, that we place this disproportionate value on think like me. You see it in churches, you see it in our groups, you see it in fraternities, sororities, you see it in schools, you see it in cities, you see it in neighborhoods, and it's like I don't know. I don't know how to completely unpack that. I think
it started at
there.
home. From the time, I really believe we all have to walk away from our family for a second and see other things and come back. And I think once we started thinking differently than our moms, our dads, our family, that's the first cancellation you experience. Like, what?
Oh, that's
you don't agree? What's going on?
That's interesting.
Yeah, because I almost believe to a certain extent that exposure introduces us to different perspectives.
Absolutely.
So now, if, say, my parents, they raised me under the Bible and Jesus Christ, that's what I stand, that's what I represent, that's what I love. Now, through life, I had experienced different things to where, okay, now, mama them said, if I go back and pray about this here, if I deal with this here, the way the Bible tells me to, then this would be the outcome. And when I tried it and then it happened, okay, I'm good. Then over a period of time in life, as I matured, my problems did too. So I had to pray harder, longer, and whatever else, read more. And then when you have someone that may have went to jail and then talked to a Muslim that was pretty intelligent in whatever they believe or whatever religion or doctrine, whatever they're under, and then they like, okay, well, he talked about some of my childhood things to where I went to a church and they had a picture of a white Jesus. So that must be who they believed in, but he showed me in the Bible where Jesus ain't white. Because of their lack of knowledge, they think that the whole church was under the influence that Jesus was white. No, silly. That was just a picture that they bought to symbolize whatever. But now you want to say, oh, yeah, stay woke. Y'all, man, they sleep, blah, blah, blah. Because you heard somebody else or you read or heard something on YouTube, whatever else. So my thing, and I always question, I say, okay, well, I can have an intelligent conversation with you. But if you're going to tell me not to believe in Jesus, then what would you suggest I believe in?
One of our, and I might be jumping around a little bit, it's just that really made me think about this. One of our core values in America is to fight what is different. We've always done that from the existence and the beginning of what we've done. We fight what is different, and we want what is different to be beneath us, and the majority of us, whoever the majority is, we win against that difference. And we tend to fight difference by, oppressing it and punishing it. I mean, that's just from the foundation of the country when they invented race. It was like we want to punish difference and we want to, and it's something that we've always done. And when you see this cancellation that happens, I think it speaks more volumes about where we really are. I think we have a lot of values we say that we have,
and we do not practice them.
But we don't display those values. When you really look at what we doing,
exactly.
It's like, yeah, that's not.
Yeah,
I think that's integrity. It's like that's we.
And I mean, and to even comment on that, a lot of things is because it's actually we at fault due to humanity. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like the flesh is addicted to whatever makes it feel good. Mm-hmm. So but even in that same Bible, just for example, like it says that, hey, we all sin and come short of the glory. So just because you say you're a pastor or you're a first lady or something like that, I'm not expecting perfection out of you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But as soon as a church member or a pastor, you see somebody, oh, look at them, they supposed to be this,
Oh yeah, you ready?
And that's because of they may not be doing everything. Yeah, I believe in Jesus, but because I didn't do everything right, now I'm going to be crucified for it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel left out.
Go ahead.
Because I didn't get none of that Christian loving from my family growing up. Like, I got none of that. My parents didn't push religion on me. My parents taught me core values as a whole,
right?
To do right by people and things like that. But they never pushed religion. They never pushed idealism. Outside of be a man, make something of yourself, stand tall, be firm, that type of shit. But I never got this structured thinking. They always allowed me to think however I wanted to.
Same
and
here.
then they would come back and
here.
have a conversation about the way that I thought or I'm thinking, and then they would challenge me in my thoughts. So they almost prepared me to have this individualistic mentality versus what the mob says, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, now looking back, I can appreciate that. When I was younger, like, goddamn, everybody going to church. I can't go to church. Like, why y'all not taking me?
What's going on? Right.
I didn't know. I didn't understand.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I was going to say, because in some sense, it's almost like a lot of things where people are taught, like, say, biblically in the Bible, it says to train up a child the way he or she should go, whatever. And so now, if this is what you have done and it works, then why would I go find something different? So it's not like I'm making you or forcing you, because the thing about the Bible, we all have choice.
Yeah.
I mean, whether we want to believe or not to believe, you know what I'm saying? Or even as a child, I know some people that grew up in church and totally, you know what I'm saying, navigated away the opposite way, because they still did have a mind of their own.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to deal with the church's kind of, the church is a real big source of cancellation.
Yeah.
I mean, I describe
Church
myself.
people. Let me say church people.
Yeah, I describe myself as card-carrying church girl. I've been in the ministry. I've pastored full-time before, not currently. And so, for me, there are a lot of things that I saw in the church and in church culture, and I do speak on it a lot, to the point where even a lot of my church friends be like, "What's wrong with you? You against the?" But
I've seen those comments come at you like that.
Because I feel that there's some things that we do that make us appear, hypocritical, and these are things that we do traditionally throughout the quote unquote.
But do you think? Do all of you think though that with cancellation of the culture and society, that it's happening more with us?
I mean, us as an African Americans?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Or is it across the board?
Shit, I think it's across the board.
Across the board.
I think we don't spend time in other cultures enough
right.
to necessarily see what transpires. But I do think it's because it's not just topics that relate to African Americans. It's topics that relate to European Americans, Asian Americans, Indian Americans, everyone.
I think what bothers me the most about it, though, is we tend to be very vocal when it comes against African Americans. We are the main.
Right.
I have a variety of friends, and to me, it feels like when we do something, we are jumping. We're attacking each other. I'm like, why? Yeah,
because we're taught to be that
we
way.
got neighbors. What you fight?
Right.
That type of thing. And we are attacking each other, from the Botman John case and the young man to everything. We are
the pastor. Going in on
we're gonna leave that.
Gotcha. Okay, it's cool. I mean,
we're not going to talk about Pastor Wilson today.
Right.
But I mean, we tend to be the main ones, like it, and I know maybe I'm just sensitive to it, that we tend to just attack each other
We amplify the infection.
And it's like, can y'all just infight? Can we just talk about this? You know, like, but I could be wrong.
No, it's good. You're right, but that's a whole entire different conversation. And personally, as an activist, that's a conversation that a lot of us millennial activists have, that I think in Black American culture, we have traditionally not had a thing called house business. Because we ain't never been allowed to really have house business. So we don't, we've always practiced a call out culture.
Yeah.
You know, we've always practiced that. That has been the thing that it helps us within the community, but it also advances us outside the community. And so a lot of that is just because, and I guess, I don't even want to say what it is because, but I think we have got to redefine what are these rules of engagement culturally for us, because traditionally they've been this way, and they just been that way because that was survival. That's what you had to do. So, you know, we have to redefine some of these things. I think some of those conversations have to be had behind closed doors amongst people in their families, in their churches, you know, to create so that you can redefine what that means for yourself and your children and the next generation. That's difficult, though, with the introduction of social media because, you know,
people jump.
That's our private journals.
It kills me. People jump to this to air everything
on blast.
And I'm like, what?
Well, T.I. said, my life is y'all's entertainment.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is, and I think, like when you was talking about the question about, is it just our race or do everybody? I think there's a certain percentage that every individual or every race can, you know, take a piece of that pie. But in certain situations, I do say you have more white people to do this, or you have more Hispanics, and then you have some things that more blacks do. And I think that we are, by right in a lot of cases, are one of the most emotional, you know what I'm saying, expressive culture. Yeah, I mean, because if you offend us a certain way, we're going to do something. Whether it's us talking about it, fighting, or whatever else, politically or ignorantly, however we want to do it. And I think that is... that's across the board because even the way that we're taught, the way we are raised or exposed to or not protected from influences the way we act, think, talk, dress, and everything else.
And that's true. And I think that one thing in comparison to other cultures, when you're talking about calling out and things like that, that word is the word meekness, right? Okay, meekness means power under control, all right? So when you got some power and you really can make something happen, when something happens to you, you don't feel that you have to let other people know about it because I'm about to make some moves on this. I'm about to make a difference and transact something based on what happened to me so I can control my power because I have some. I think that black folk in America have traditionally not had any power to do anything except call each other out and call out other things. So because we have had limitations, we have had things around us. So all we, you know, that emotion is what it has been our power.
But I think it's misplaced because a lot of people don't understand how you move in silence sometimes. They want you to react the way they will react. It's like, that's not going to work in this situation.
Like we were saying when you're working, you know, and people will be like, why you ain't say this? Why you do this?
Because you move in a particular way.
Yeah. And then you get criticized and then people assume on you, and it gets to that whole, you don't care. First of all,
you don't know what.
You don't know. Sit down.
Clown.
And let's switch places. And would you do anything differently than I'm doing? What kills me is a lot of these people who are rumbling behind everything, behind the keyboard, would not do anything. You know, they're just barking. No bite. So my thing is this. If you're going to cancel, criticize, accuse, call out, tell me what you're doing to make a difference.
That's it.
What moves are you making? How are you using your mouthpiece to make a difference?
Trying to go viral.
Oh, they didn't gonna say that ain't my business.
Exactly. So until you make a difference, put yourself out there like we have.
That's it.
Stop.
Or they don't have any receipts. That's mostly what we see.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, some stuff is just glorified gossip. You're right.
I want to go back to the power piece because I think what we do see in culture is that African Americans move with power differently because we have to. Because a lot of times when you show how powerful you are, it brings about not just haters from other cultures, but haters within. So we have to move in a way, I mean, straight like lasagna. You know, the G is silent. We move like G's because it is important in order for us to continue to have that power and pass it down from a legacy perspective. And other cultures don't necessarily do that. They can be very verbose. They can be just boisterous with whatever they have and whatever they're doing. We just have to move differently until we don't have to. And I think that moment, that day is coming. It just takes time to get there.
And other cultures can, like I said, I have mentor women, and one thing I talk about is saying, like, that your gift can make room for you, but your attitude can get you put out of places that your gift made room for you to be in because you don't understand that how you're supposed to act in the room. And the thing is that the people with power in the room will go, oh, great, what a nice contribution. We'll circle back with you. Yes. And then they put you out and never say anything. And then the next time they see you, they smile. All is well, because they made a power move because they had the power to do it. So they're not going to complain to you. They're not going to fuss. They're not going to say a word. They're going to make a move. And so, traditionally, we have not always had that ability.
And I think part of the power that we do have is the knowledge of knowing what tools were used against us.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always say that if I know the playbook of my opponent, I have no business losing.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? And I think part of the negativity that we consume ourselves are the excuses that we make to remain ignorant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that means to not know. So is it ignorance at that point, or is it stupidity?
I would say probably neither. Well, I actually would err on the side of ignorance because I think the choices that are being made, a lot of people don't understand that this choice is what's keeping them down. They don't understand that they're in a position to have better, to do better, and they continue to be in this cyclic situation without knowing how to get out.
To a certain extent, I can agree with that because it's almost like a goldfish that's swimming in a jar all day long. If you take him out, put him in the lake, he's still going to swim in the same perimeter. I understand that to a certain extent. But now, if this fish has been placed in front of an ocean his whole life and he's seeing everything else swimming by, then what excuse do you have that once you're released to it?
It's fear.
We're talking about. Well, I'm talking about the exposure. I understand that those that don't know a different way or that's taught how to be a prisoner, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm saying it's a lot of us that have been exposed. This same internet that we use to counsel everybody give us the same access to a lot of information that we could use.
But if that were the case, it wouldn't be a need for an influencer or a leader.
No,
period.
That's not true because whenever you have a group. Whenever you have a group or a congregation of anything, a leader is going to always going to be required.
That's my point. So I'm saying if we all could access everything ourselves and self-teach, we wouldn't need people to influence us. And we wouldn't need people to assist us because we just access what we want.
I think you always need someone to lead, but you need to also. I don't mind being a leader, right? But I do not want anyone following me who they do not use their own mind.
They can't think for themselves.
To at least check when I need to be checked.
I'll follow you.
Agree.
To the ends of the earth.
And
check you on
and check me on
it. Followers going left, who led them that way?
I think right now, though, it's a combination. It's a combination. I will agree it's a combination. I think some people go left on their own, and you have false leadership. Everyone should not be leading.
Some people just want to be, want to follow someone.
Pause on that shit. Everyone should not be leading.
No,
right.
My God.
Everyone shouldn't be.
If you got a few leaders that go the wrong way, then you got followers that go the wrong way. Well, who the hell going the right way?
I think when you're talking about people, if we bring it back to what your original point was, which was that some of it is willful ignorance. Now, my initial profession was that of a teacher. Okay, so that's my foundation. So I truly believe in education, and I use the Holocaust as an example. You will rarely find people who are just people that disrespect the Holocaust Museum. Everyone goes to the Holocaust Museum. They understand the purpose. They understand that Jewish people are going to practice whatever they practice, and they allow them to do it. Yes, are there people out there that are anti-Semitic? Yes, but it's not that widespread. Why? Because they educated us on what the Holocaust was, what was the origin, what they educated us thoroughly on it and gave us a totally diverse education on it for several years throughout history. It repeated itself. And so what happened? Everyone grew up and they realized, wow, this bad stuff happened to the Jews, and that's why we have Holocaust Museum. Let's go. That is what happened. Mm-hmm. That same thing has not happened everywhere. We know that has not nearly happened when it comes to the history of America. And that is crucial. As a teacher, children have to be taught to think critically. If you do not teach them to think critically, they won't know how.
And I think it's a lost art. There's very few critical
thinkers.
It is,
and they don't, because they don't tell you. An older teacher had to tell me, she was like, Miss Brooks, if you don't teach the kids how to do, I was teaching 3rd grade. She said, if you don't teach the kids if this, then that, but also not that, they won't see it.
They will not.
And she was absolutely right. And she gave me this book for my 3rd graders, and we did exercises every day in math and reading that taught kids on their level, if this, then that, but not this and that. It taught them how to reason, and everybody is not.
But I think what's happening right now with education, and we're going to circle back, is they're taking the easy way out. Like one of the viewers said, people are comfortable relinquishing power because it's easy. We're in a society now where we're giving people answers. We're giving the easy, just answer this, do it like this. We're not teaching critical thinking. We're not teaching you to think for yourself. And just look at this post or look at this here. There's your answer and move with it. So we're lazy. Mm-hmm. And so with that laziness, you put all your hope into one thing or one person. And once it goes awry, you don't know how to say, you know what?
And that's how you have what he's saying.
And that's where you have people who do not think that way.
And there's no accountability. There's no responsibility, anything. And my thing is, every individual, whether you're a leader or a follower, you ought to be held accountable, or you ought to be responsible for yourself. And like you were saying, a lot of kids aren't taught how to think critically, but a lot of adults don't think critically. We don't even consider the why behind the what. In a lot of cases.
No, we don't.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's where we need to start. I don't think we have enough people talking about the right thing that would actually lead more people to a better, in the right direction.
Because we love negativity. We love to follow.
But why do we love it?
Misery loves company. There are so many miserable people in this world. They'd rather see failure than prosperity.
And you know what? I'll add to that because I think a lot of people want what other people have, but not willing to do what other people did to get it.
I agree.
That goes back to being lazy as fuck.
Because my thing is this. Like I've said before in the other show, there's enough food for all of us to eat, right?
Yeah.
You can have 50 million podcasts.
Come on.
I may listen to half of them.
Shit.
And I'm like, I like what you're doing. I'll give you a shout out. I appreciate it. Keep moving. Some people want to hoard and keep it for themselves.
Get all you
and
can,
they want you to
all
fail.
You get, sit on the lid, poison the rest.
And they're ready for the negativity, for you to do one bad thing or one that's against the grain. And now they're going to get a whole mob against you.
Foolish.
And my thing is this. Positivity is a beautiful thing. There's so much that we can learn from it. Why the negativity?
And that shit is free.
And all of it's free.
Come on.
All of it's free. Because we're not going to grow as a people, society, in whoever you ethnic background, if you keep being negative. We're not going to grow.
No, we can't.
You'll keep getting canceled.
Negativity is religious for us, though. And I understand why.
You'll keep getting canceled.
We've got to change
You'll keep having people tell you to apologize, things you need to apologize for. And you're going to keep living in the past. And I refuse to live in that past. I apologize. I'm done. Keep it moving. I said it. Yes, I did. If you don't like me, so what? But you know what? I spoke my truth.
Yeah.
And keep it moving.
And I'm okay with me.
And I'm okay with me.
Right. Yeah.
But don't force me to agree or move the way you move.
Right. Yeah.
You want to do that? Okay, I get you. I'm going to do this.
And I think one reason why a lot of people fall back on that is because we feel like we need the validation of others. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Every
To
time.
prove that, if I post something, if I say something, if enough people like it, then I must be right.
And that's where it comes from. That's where this comes from.
If enough like it, I must be right.
I will follow the lead of the negativity. I want to be liked. I need those likes. I need those follows.
I need those hearts.
I need I need the happy faces. I need all those things. And that's what I need to do to survive. Right. And if I need to agree with you, I will, because I don't want you hating me. It's okay to be hated for a second. I'm telling you right now, come next week, don't forget.
Yeah, it's okay to agree to disagree.
It's okay.
Disagree.
So
we should be able to handle disagreement.
If me and you have one disagreement, or some people that
all your people gonna hate me. All your folks gonna hate me.
What? They done fell out.
Yeah.
I'll see. I'll scroll down and see. That makes sense, but I ain't gonna like it because I don't like her.
All your folks gonna hate me. Let me not ever disagree with you.
We've taken our childhood playground.
I don't even have followers, so
shut up.
And it's grown folk that are teaching these kids that, because we are so emotional. Because the thing is, we have a lot of emotions that follow our decisions.
A lot.
And
so if I don't like you, I'm going to emotionally.
And another thing is that and we want to close out with this. A lot of it has to do with wanting to be accepted. Some people just go along with you because they want you to like them. Yeah. They may not ever really agree with you
at all,
but because you're popular in their eyes and you have a life they may want to have, and you seem influential in some type of way. If you say it, I'm going to follow it. But because they need that attention and they need you in some way to accept them. It's all about acceptance. So if you go against the grain of what we're discussing, then what's wrong with you? I don't agree. Sorry. That's it.
Just that simple. I don't agree.
It's just that simple. I want to say thank y'all. You want to say something?
Nope.
No. Did I cut you off? I'm sorry.
Nope.
So I want to say thank y'all for coming. I really appreciate it. This can go on and on and on. We'll do this again. But before we go, let people know where they can find you, what's going on in your life. Nikki, let's go with you first.
All right. So Instagram, Nikki Brooks 01. Facebook, same thing. Nikki Brooks 2 actually on Facebook. And I'm always on social media talking.
And you have a fan page on Facebook as well.
I do have a fan page, Nikki Brooks as well. So you can find me there. My fan page is at Miss Nikki Brooks on Facebook. And so you can find me there.
Mr. Clarence Singleton.
You can find me at Clarence Singleton on both IG and Clarence Cleo the Best Barber on Singleton on Facebook. I'm the host of Tuesday Night Live, Tuesday at 8:00, which I'm here.
Yes, you
sacrificing for my friend.
I made you come.
Right. And can I send out an invitation?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, so this Saturday at Lighthouse Church, off of 59 and Rankin, can't miss it, biggest church over there. We're having a singles get together, a panel where we have 4 men, 4 women, and we're going to be talking about the spooky side of dating. Who's being tricked, who's being treated.
Do you have a link for it?
We don't have a link, but they can just go to my page and they can find it. You know, and also have the Barbershop, Dream Chasers Barber and Beauty Studio, right off of Humble Road in 59. We book appointments, www.dreamchasersbarbershop.com. Make an appointment.
That's what's up, man.
Go ahead, Mr.
Y'all, you know what it is. Anywhere online, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. I'm not gonna mention in front of these two.
I'm sorry, I did.
Christians.
I apologize. We have company. We got company.
That's G Hawkins with the Z.
I got company. We got company. I apologize.
At G Hawkins, that's G Hawkins with the Z. Of course, if you have any questions from a podcasting perspective, hit us up at the Sphere TV or the website thesphere.tv, and we'll definitely be there to answer all those questions for you.
I apologize for saying things from the company.
That's okay. Hey, it's out there.
I'm just saying, it's out there. You know where to find me on Instagram and Facebook at Shall We Proceed Podcast or E.LeeseMain. Follow me on all media platforms and the show on Apple, Spotify, Google, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio. The live's on my page. It stays there. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back next week talking about cancel culture. No, talking about cancer survivors. Listen to me.
Oh, wow.
Yes, with Kimberly, my boo. Kimberly Ann. So share the show again. Keep sharing it. Have a conversation in the comments. See you next week. Thank you for tuning in. Mwah.